Embarrassing. I don't think there's a better word to describe the Golden State Warriors tonight. Dennis Schröder's debut was not a success. Stephen Curry, for the first time in his career, went without a field goal, scored 2 whopping points. Here's why you tune into this show instead of every other douchebag out there who pretends they know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to the Golden State Warriors. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with this team. It's not going to surprise you if you're a regular Golden Dazer, but if you're new, it might shock you a little bit because chances are everyone else is feeding in your ear. 4 championships, bro. Steve Kerr's the best, bro. No, he's not. He's the problem. Let's break it down. The Warriors have now lost 9 of 11. Times aren't good in Dub Nation land. Oh boy, here we go. It's the Golden Days.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Let's go!
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you got
Welcome to the Golden Days. I am your host for the evening, Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at DogWild. I'm over on Twitter at SurfJournalist. The program is on most social media platforms at Golden Days Pod. Tonight's episode brought to you by Vitamin Energy. That's right, we got a new sponsor, folks. Go healthy with your energy boosters. Folks, here's the deal with Vitamin Energy. My familia, my mom, and my sister especially, they're health nuts. They will not put a thing in their body if they don't know with absolute certainty that it's good for you. I made them my test subjects. They came back and said, I'm all in on Vitamin Energy. This stuff it tastes good. I got the boost I wanted, and it's good for you. That's one of the craziest parts. Go to vitaminenergy.com. Make sure you use the promo code Golden Days. Days is spelled like dazed and confused, for 20% off your order. Again, use the promo code Golden Days for 20% off. Today's episode is also brought to you by BetOnline. They continue to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen with the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC, and so much more. Head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use the promo code BELIEVE. It's spelled B-L-E-A-V. It's the name of the network for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline. The game starts here. An absolutely embarrassing performance by the Golden State Warriors from the moment the ball tipped off. Just to give you an idea of how obvious this night was going to go badly for the Golden State Warriors, the tip featured something I'd never seen in my life, a foul. Kevon Looney was the starting center tonight, and on the opening tip, the refs called a foul on him. I kid you not. The Grizzlies respond with the possession. They hit a 3 right off the bat. They hit another 3 right off the bat. They're up 6-0 before you know it. They're up 13-2 before you know it. And before you know it, it's over. It was over super fast. Final score in this embarrassment, 144-93. And the craziest part is that I don't think the score reflects just how bad the Warriors were beaten, because at least they were actually trying in the fourth quarter. And despite that, the Golden State Warriors still lose this game by 51 points. And if you want to know why the Golden State Warriors are flailing and floundering, if you want to know why Stephen Curry in this game had arguably the worst outing of his career, 2 points. 0 for 7 from the field, 0 for 6 from deep, had 1 trip to the free throw line, made both his free throws. His net rating tonight was minus 41. I'm going to guess that's a career low. I don't know that as a fact as of right now, but I think that's a fairly safe assumption. And the morons out there are going to point to that. The morons out there are going to point to Draymond Green, who also had an awful game tonight. He played 19 minutes, had 0 points, 0 of 4 from the field, 0 of 1 from deep. This is a player that's actually been hitting his threes all season long, dating back to last season. His net rating, minus 42. And again, you're going to see the dipshits out there, the douchebags, the folks who are just wanting attention without actually knowing what the hell they're talking about, probably pointing their fingers at those two for the primary reason. No, this is a Steve Kerr production. The reason why Stephen Curry is struggling, I don't doubt that at age 36, he's turning 37 in 3 months and change. I don't doubt age has something to do with this, but he is double teamed every possession. Literally, every time Stephen Curry has the ball, teams are putting 2 guys on him, and he has no help. And what's adding to the insult here is the fact that Steve Kerr, in his infinite wisdom, thought, let's bench Jonathan Kuminga to start this game. So he basically just killed any hope of getting anything out of him tonight, because that kid, it has had his fill. He's done. I think he's had it with Steve Kerr. I think he wants to be traded at this point. It wouldn't surprise me if that's how he felt. I've had numerous people tell me, and again, I'm not a big fan of the whole body language thing, but he doesn't look pleased out there in the way he's being used. Made no sense not to start him. The Golden State Warriors went with a starting lineup of Steph, Dennis Schröder, who I believe played like the entire first quarter, Kevon Looney, he was awful as well, Draymond Green, and Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins was the only player that was doing anything in this game tonight. By the way, on that note, we're going to start doing this effective immediately. Tonight's player of the game was Andrew Wiggins. Probably the best player on the Warriors. He didn't lead the team in scoring tonight because Brandon Pajemski poured in a ton of fourth quarter points, more specifically in the fourth quarter, which was just entirely garbage time. The game was over, regardless of what the Warriors did. So Brandon Pajemski scored 16 fourth quarter points to mask a poor performance by him as well. So that's why Wiggins did not end the night the leading scorer for the Golden State Warriors, but he is our player of the game, brought to you by Vitamin Energy. Again, go to vitaminenergy.com. Enter the promo code Golden Days, days spelled like dazed and confused, for 20% off your order. And Wiggins, while everyone else around him just sucked, he was good. He was really good. And which adds to the frustration of how this team is being used, because the only good player on this team was Andrew Wiggins, but apparently, according to Steve Kerr, in his mind, or his gut, depending on what he listens to, players in their 20s, in the prime of their physical conditioning, they shouldn't play a whole quarter of basketball. And the reason why I say that is because there was no good reason to take Andrew Wiggins out of this game in the first quarter, given the way he was playing, given he was the only player on this team doing a damn thing. Andrew Wiggins tonight, the Vitamin Energy player of the game, 6 of 11 from the field. He was 4 of 5 from 3, finishes the game with 19 points, again, on 4 or 5 shooting from deep. But when the only player on your team who's doing anything is taken out inexplicably because you have your set substitutions, that the horror of deviating from that, oh my God, like God forbid you veer away from your script and make decisions in real time. No, Wiggins gets taken out in the first quarter after 8 minutes of play, despite the quarter being 12 minutes, because in Steve Kerr's mind, oh no, you can't have Wiggins playing a whole 12 minutes, even though you see a lot of superstars in the NBA on a night-by-night basis playing close to 40 minutes, because sometimes that's what you need to do. I could understand monitoring Stephen Curry's minutes, monitoring Andrew Wiggins' minutes when he's the only guy doing anything for you. Make that make sense for me. Anyways, Andrew Wiggins is the player of the game. I want to give him love because he deserves it, because he was literally the only person on this team tonight doing anything of real substance. This was embarrassing. And again, I'm no longer even in doubt about what I'm going to say right here. There's no doubt in my mind. that this team is better if they don't have that incompetent individual making all the decisions when it comes to personnel. And what's sad is, as a head coach in the NBA, that is one of your biggest responsibilities, knowing who should play when. I don't think we saw a single minute tonight where Steph, Dre, Wiggins, and Kuminga, your 4 best players on the Golden State Warriors, spent a second together on the court tonight. Why? Because Steve Kerr thinks he's smarter than everyone else, and in his mind, he has his rotations set. Dude, like, and again, every other schlep out there who calls himself a member of the media, who has a program covering the Golden State Warriors, outside of 1 or 2 other individuals, everyone else is going to find something else to blame this on. It's never Steve Kerr's fault in their minds because he won 4 championships. It is the most lamest, tired, old excuse I have heard in the last 2-3 years now pertaining to defending an individual. Robert Horry would have the same 9 championships if he was head coaching those Kevin Durant teams. It's a joke to constantly rely on that. You know what we saw tonight that was particularly embarrassing? And I'm definitely going to open up the link for people who want to come on and either vent or actually come on and defend Steve Kerr and try to justify the absolute embarrassment of a performance from him as a head coach. Like, no one likes to point their finger at him for some reason. It's just, you have this culture of fear that Steve Kerr has perpetuated where, God forbid, you criticize the head coach of a team that for 3 years now is underperforming, is underachieving. It is insane. And the symbol of the incompetency from that head coach tonight came 17 minutes into this game approximately, when we saw a 5-man lineup that did have Wiggins out there, that did have Kyle Anderson out there. We actually saw Kyle Anderson play some minutes tonight. I think Slow-Mo finished tonight's game with 19 minutes. Okay, and he was. I stand corrected in terms of Wiggins being the lone decent player out there. I thought Kyle Anderson was pretty good too. So the Warriors had 2 individuals tonight playing some decent basketball. But my point is, 17 minutes into this game, close to the midway point of the second quarter, we saw a lineup that featured Kyle Anderson, Kevon Looney. All right, okay, and you're thinking to yourself, that's fine. Nothing, there's nothing new there. And then Dennis Schröder, all 6'1" of his. And side note, are you starting to understand why I keep advocating and clamoring for height for players with actual, legitimate size being on this team instead of this BS small ball crap? So we saw a lineup that had Dennis Schröder, Gary Payton II, and Brandon Pajemski out there together. And I'm sure you can guess how that went. Embarrassing performance of the Golden State Warriors. It starts with the head coach. 144-93. The Golden State Warriors shot 35.6% from the field tonight. They shot 33.3% from 3 tonight. The Memphis Grizzlies, meanwhile, because this is what happens when an NBA team does not have tall players to worry about. You can just shoot the ball however you want. Unimpeded, I apologize. The Memphis Grizzlies tonight shot 54.1% from the field. They shot 56.2% from deep. That over 4 quarters of play, for 2 straight games now, an opponent of the Golden State Warriors has shot better than 50% from deep. How, as a coaching staff, are you not addressing that? Or maybe you can't because in your stupid mind, you think tiny hobbit-sized players are going to win games. It's basketball. How moronic can you be? I'm gonna set up the link here real fast. If anyone wants to come on, this will be a short show tonight because there is. What are we doing here, right? I mean, I'm just gonna sit here and just repeat myself over and over again. Steve Kerr sucks. It's his fault. Steve Kerr's an awful head coach, and I do believe strongly he's one of the worst coaches in the NBA right now. There's only a handful of coaches worse than him. I don't even know who coaches the Wizards. I guess whoever that is might be worse. I can't even say the Detroit Pistons head coach. I think. He was coaching the Cavaliers last year. I forgot his name. I don't even know if he's worse than Steve Kerr anymore. The Raptors have a good coach. The Sixers have a good coach. He's one of the worst in the NBA. Joe Lacob, it's time to take some action. This team would be better with either Terry Stotts or Jerry Stackhouse as the head coach. The Steve Kerr experiment is a problem. I don't think the Warriors are going to ever do anything ever again if he continues to be someone with influence. The only hope they have is to make another trade fast, get rid of all the crutches he has, send Pajemski down to Santa Cruz so he can't play him, and then maybe you still got a shot. But this is a disaster. This is an absolute disaster. 9 of 11 they've lost. You get your ass kicked tonight, 144-93. And let's go to Derek Simmons, who's joining us from Las Vegas. The floor is yours tonight, because I don't really have much else to say, Derek. It's great to see you under these frustrating circumstances.
So what did we say last time I was on here, Cyrus?
Remind me.
I said the Dennis Schröder move was good, but I believe that this is bad for Steve Kerr because we're just going to see more small ball. And you said what? You said that Brandon Bajemski, GP2, and Steph Curry was on the court all on the same time?
They were. I think they were. No, well, tonight, that did happen too. There was a moment where we had Steph, GP2, and Pajemski. We did have that. And then I think Schröder came in for Steph. To have those three out there together, man, how does that make sense? How does that make sense, Derek?
And sorry, it doesn't make any sense at all. And I feel like we're not saying like science fancy bullshit here. Like, I think that the things that we're saying is pretty common sense. And why is it somebody like, I'm not even in basketball. My sport is bodybuilding, for Christ's sake. And if I feel like at times I know more basketball than Steve Kerr.
And I think that is what's frustrating, right? Like people who watch the game from afar should not end up looking smarter than the head coach. You're right. I feel like anybody in the audience tonight would make better decisions than the man who's actually the highest paid head coach in the NBA. That's embarrassing, man. That's embarrassing, dude. Continue on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So we said that the best starting five was Steph Curry at the 1, Andrew Wiggins at the 2, Jonathan Kuminga at the 3, Draymond Green at the 4, and Trace Jackson-Davis at the 5. We were closer to that lineup at the beginning of the season.
Yes.
That's when we was winning. It seems like immediately when we got the 1 seed, Steve Kerr said, now it's time for me to do what I want to do. And ever since then, it's been straight hell. The only solution, I don't care what trade we make, we can get Giannis, we can get fucking Jokic. If Steve Kerr is still the head coach of this team, we're not going anywhere because he's a man that inherited Mark Jackson's work. Then a few years later, he had the 3 best players in the world. He had Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, all on the same team. You can give my mother that team, and my mom is going to win championships. No and now, in 2022, we had Mike Brown, and then Steph Curry was the best player in the world that year. Then we see Mike Brown leaves. He inherits the Kings, who hasn't been relevant since Chris fucking Webber, and he makes that a playoff team. So what does that tell you?
It's frustrating. It is incredibly frustrating. And here's the thing, man. A couple people in the chat are bringing up, Kuminga, like blame him as well. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm going to share this stat one more time with you because I'm not defending his play tonight. I said at the very beginning he was awful. I'm not saying he was one of the players that did good, but I'm also going to share with you this stat one more time. A stat that, by the way, does not reflect when he scored a career high 33 last week against the Rockets. One more time, and I posted this on my Threads account. When Jonathan Kuminga in his career plays 30 or more minutes, and this does not reflect the 2 more games he's done this season. So these stats, in some ways, may be better. I think his 3-point percentage went down a tiny bit. But again, when Kuminga plays 30-plus minutes in a game, which every other rookie in his class has been afforded the luxury of, he's the only one that hasn't. I understood it the first year, maybe the second one, maybe. Anthony Lamb was stealing his minutes, did not justify that, but regardless, in year 4, to still not be giving it when you're producing results like this, 144-93, Jonathan Kuminga has played 30-plus minutes now, 37 games in his career. The stats I have represent the first 35. When he plays 30-plus minutes, he averages 20.2 points per game on 55.1% shooting from the field, on 43% shooting from 3. And again, that number went down, I think, to like 41 point something, still above 40%. He averages 5.5 rebounds per game. He had a plus 24 net rating. That's higher now. Again, tonight, he didn't start. Inexplicable. Makes no damn sense. and he played 27 minutes, 36 seconds. He shot 2 of 12 from the field. It's awful. You're absolutely right. Again, I'm not defending him at all. But when he's not getting the minutes he should be getting, direct your focus somewhere else, man. That's not on him. I'm done pointing the finger toward Kuminga when he's not getting reps. Trade him. I support trading him. You better get something good back, though. Vucevic, that's a joke. This is a buyer's market. This trade market is a buyer's market. So you don't want to be foolish and give up important assets to get something back you can get for free. We already saw that once with Dennis Schröder. We got him for the Warriors. Got him for practically nothing. I think Reese Beekman was too much, to be honest. And there are plenty of other players out there you can make a similar trade for, where this time you'd have to give up GP2's contract. You'd have to give up probably Kevon Looney's contract. Andrew Wiggins you'd have to give up if you want to bring back Jimmy Butler. But the point is, I'm still not going to sit here and support mortgaging an important future asset that when he actually gets minutes and when he actually doesn't have a coach holding him back, the dude can play. And so I'm not going to point my finger at Kuminga, who again couldn't even crack 30 minutes on a night where the Warriors lost by 51 points. That is a coaching problem. That is not a Kuminga problem. Derek, continue on. I'm sorry. I saw that a couple times in the chat, and just lay off Kuminga, man. Like, it's a joke if you're still pointing a finger at him when he's not getting 30 minutes. If he gets a real run out there and he's laying an egg, yeah, blame him all you want. But 27 minutes? No. I'm sorry. This team has much bigger issues than Jonathan Kuminga. And someone in the chat mentioned Moses Moody as well. He's still hurt. That's why he's not playing. He's got an injury. It sucks. And Stanley Warren in the chat dropping $2 to say a point that I wholeheartedly agree with. Trade Gary Payton II so it's one less crutch for Steve Kerr to use. I saw someone on Threads, and I forgot the handle off the top of my head, and I apologize for that, who turned the word Billy Bean into a verb, right? You got to Billy Bean Steve Kerr, meaning you got to make trades so he can't play the players on that roster that should never get played. When you treat Kerr like that, he still has value as a head coach, but he has turned into a GM himself. Clearly, he influences all these personnel decisions, which should not be happening. Kerr, the GM, is a joke. That was already proven in Phoenix, and now he's ruining the Warriors again. Stop pointing a finger at Kuminga. That is, it's asinine. Like, you are missing the mark 1,000% if you still are going that direction. This is a Steve Kerr issue, man. Okay, and I agree that GP2 should be traded so we could Billy Bean Steve Kerr. And if you don't understand what that verb means, the movie Moneyball, Billy Bean was making trades so that his coach could not play certain players. He was making moves because he had a coach who kept playing players that the GM did not want played. So he had to trade them in order for the players he wanted on the field to actually get run. Derek, continue on. I apologize for stealing your thunder, brother. You're muted. You're muted. We can't hear you. Derek, we can't hear you. I'm sorry. There we go. Let me see if I can unmute. I can't unmute you. I don't know what's going on. It says your mic is not connected. Do me a favor, Derek. Why don't you come back, man? Why don't you come back and I'll bring you back on again? I thought there was someone else in the chat who wanted to join us, Dre. Unless Derek, did you figure out your issue? No, try again. Okay, let's go to Dre. I know you wanted to get on. Dre, welcome to the show. How the hell are you doing, brother?
Doing excellent, man. Not too good for the loss, but other than that,
I'm glad you're doing good. Otherwise, man.
It's time for Steve Kerr to put his foot down. And as a superstar, enough is enough. As a superstar, you got to go to that office. And, hey, look, if I'm not going to get no help, then it's time for me to leave. Kobe did it. You see what Kobe got. When Kobe went to that Lakers and said, hey, look, I'm out of here if y'all don't give me what happened? They got Paul Gasol.
Yeah, they did. That's right.
So
You're
it's time
absolutely right,
for
man.
Steph to put his foot down and say, look, man, enough is enough. Or, hey, look, if this is going to happen like this for this year, next year, I'm gone. We got to make some trades.
It doesn't sound as crazy now for Stephen Curry to hang him up and retire in the year or two, right? Like people were just like, no way that could ever happen. Like, yeah, we're starting to lean that way a little bit. It is unfortunate that both Steph and Dre don't provide input. Like Mike Dunleavy Jr. revealed that recently, that those two players they're not proactive and they're not advocating for moves. But they are
right.
consulted. And I'm with you, man. I do wish they would kind of interject themselves more, but they seem to be very passive and deferential to Steve Kerr. They let Kerr, just have his way, and this is the downside of it, man. Yeah, Dre.
I think that another thing is we're too small, which we've been knew this. This has been an issue for a long time.
Yes,
we
sir.
are too small, and if we I'm gonna say this: if you're not gonna go get a rim protector center who can get us some second chance points, who can get us the rebounds, then go get a superstar that can help Curry. If you're not gonna go get a rim protecting center.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, man. Are there any rim protectors out there that, off the top of your head, look good now? Because I'll tell you one player that looks really good. I know I've been advocating for Vucevic, and I still want him. But in terms of rim protection and defense, Robert Williams from Portland, I think, would be awesome. Like, you could have used him in that game tonight where the Warriors, you're right, man, they look tiny, dude. The Grizzlies were just shooting over them.
Will help?
Andre Drummond would be awesome too, but I think Andre Drummond is signed somewhere, and I think he's with Philly, and I don't know if he'd be. I mean, look, Andre Drummond is. I mean, if you're gonna make a deal, you want to make a deal for someone that's gonna make an impact, right? Drummond, I don't know, man. I wouldn't hate it, but And Adrian Gutierrez, you're right, dude. Kerr small ball is insane, and the worst part is this is the saddest part of all this, Dre, and everyone else who's viewing and listening. Even if the Warriors made a trade for some shot blocker or some big that you could feed inside and get easy buckets and who can make life easier for Stephen Curry and company, is Steve Kerr going to play him, right? I mean, we don't even know if Steve Kerr would sign off on that. This is why I think ultimately this is a Steve Kerr problem. And it's unfortunate because we've heard this before, and I'll say it again, that Joe Lacob, he has this a fraternal connection to Kerr because they won 4 championships together. It's why Kerr is not going anywhere likely this season, and who knows, maybe even next. It sucks, dude. It is the bane of my sports existence is knowing that Steve Kerr is borderline untouchable, even though he is an awful head coach, dude. It sucks. Sorry,
we got it. Well, the thing is, we have to know what are we doing. Are we rebuilding? Because it seems like we don't know what direction we're trying to go.
You're right.
Are we rebuilding, or are we maximizing Steph Curry's last 2 or 3 years? If so, then you have to make trades to make that happen.
You're absolutely right, dude. And again, we were saying this all offseason. The whole offseason on the show, all we kept saying is, how does this roster make sense? And it looked good early, man. It looked good. They started 12-3. It was working, but a lot of the reason why it was working is because we were seeing sensible lineups, dude. We were seeing Wiggins actually starting at the 2 for a little bit there, and Kerr abandoned that super fast. But Buddy Hield has regressed. That's a huge problem. The Buddy Hield that we saw in the first 2 weeks, who's the leading scorer on the Warriors. Now what we regularly get is the Buddy Hield we see tonight. He plays 20 minutes. He's 4 of 6 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3. Okay, I guess. Maybe he should have gotten more minutes. I don't know. But the minutes that I saw when he was out there, he wasn't doing much. Finished with 9 points in this game. Dude, I don't know, dude.
We don't have a consistent scorer. We don't have a consistent scorer on a night-to-night basis we can depend on besides Curry. That's the problem.
You're absolutely right.
And teams see that. Okay, we just double team Curry. We can live with Buddy Hield beating us. We can live with Wiggins because they're not super consistent. We can live with Wiggins beating us.
I like Alan Day in the chat saying trade GP2 and Guy Santos for Jonas Valanciunas, a player who's been linked to the Warriors for a while now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate it, man. At this point, give me anything. Give me anybody that actually is tall, dude, so we don't look like literally a bunch of hobbits out there, man. I don't want to use that word anymore. I'm my jaws are tired from just enunciating that 2-syllable word, hobbit. I'm tired of that, but we just keep seeing it. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, dude. Why would you think that the formula for success in the NBA is having a backcourt that's 6'3" and 6'1"? That's having a center some nights who's 6'6". Make that make sense to me, dude. The Warriors never won with that small of a lineup ever. None of those 4 championships had lineups that small. But for some reason, the last 2-3 years, in Steve Kerr's mind, that wins. Why? What has ever convinced you or anyone to think that is the recipe for success? It's BS, man. I don't know what's going on there. I feel like every Kerr decision is made to protect Stephen Curry. I think That's what he's doing. But you're not even protecting Steph at this point. You're just,
What's our average height? 6'6"?
it's somewhere around there. Yeah. I could look it up real fast. I'll look it up real fast. But any final thoughts as we start wrapping it up here, man? That's all
I had to say. If we're gonna maximize Steph Curry, this is the last thing I'm gonna say. If we're gonna maximize these next 2 or 3 years with Curry, then make some trades for Jimmy Butler or somebody that can help him score. If you're gonna keep this team, and if you are gonna keep this team, then go get a rim protecting center. That's all I have to say.
No, bravo, Dre, you nailed it. Yeah, where in the world are you?
Saginaw.
Duh. Sorry, man. I not seeing you on the camera. Threw me off there. Okay, well, great to hear from you again, Dre. How freezing is it in Saginaw, Michigan right now?
Man, it's colder than the polar bear's toenails out here.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. It was great to hear from you, Dre. Have a great night, man. Have a great weekend. Right. Take care, brother. Stanley Warren in the chat dropping 5 ducats. Thank you, sir, saying that that you knew I was going crazy as soon as I saw Dennis Schröder start over Kuminga. It wasn't the Schröder part of it. We were prepared for that. Like Mike Dunleavy Jr., Shams Charania was even tweeting and reporting that this was going to happen, that the Warriors were planning on starting him. Steve Kerr himself said it. I was expecting the Schröder part of this in terms of a starting 2 guard that's 6'1", and I was open-minded about it. I was curious to see how that goes. Side note, it went as well as anyone should expect for a 6'1" 2 guard. But the Kuminga going to the bench part of it, I didn't get that. It's like, why? Like, why are we still experimenting? And what the Warriors, 14-12 now? We're at the 26-game mark of the NBA season. Why are we still experimenting? Why has this just been one long experiment going on 3 years now? Get rid of this coach. This coach is a joke. Like move on. You've got Terry Stotts. You've got Jerry Stackhouse. Move on. Stephen Curry is a big boy. He can handle it. If Joe Lacob calls him and says, Steph, look, I know Steve's your boy. I get it. You guys have been through wars together. I love Steve. He's our friend for life. But we got to be real here, okay? Like, cards on the table. This guy does not know who to play when, and his system is now predictable. Everyone is running the same system he's doing. There's nothing special about the guy anymore. He can't develop a leaf. He can't develop a twig. Why we got to move on. That's why we brought Terry Stotts in here in the first place, because to prepare for a moment like this, Steph, I promise you, you're going to be okay. And that conversation will, if that happened, would not result in anything bad, okay? The world will go on. The show will go on. Stephen Curry would probably in that conversation reply and go, yeah, I get it, man. We're not winning games, and Steve's my boy, but hey, man, at least we got Terry. I get along with Terry, great. Okay, let's, and that's it. And then Steph would call Steve after that and say, hey, man, we'll meet up soon, and it was a great 10 years. What a run. And then life would go on, and the Warriors would have a coach that would actually play the right people. And here's why I have hope, Stanley, and to everyone else. And Stanley, I showed this tweet earlier, this message, earlier, making a donation for suggesting to trade Gary Payton II so Steve Kerr cannot play him. In other words, Billy Bean, Steve Kerr by trading GP2. I still have hope. I still have hope, and if you want to call me delusional, so be it. I still have hope if Steve Kerr gets out of the goddamn way and you start playing the right players. What do I mean by that? For example, tonight, start the right 5 people. Start your 5 with Steph, with Wiggins at the 2, with Kuminga at the 3, with Draymond Green at the 4, and given Trace Jackson Davis is on your roster right now, use him as your 5, okay? Instill confidence in him again. The best way to do that is by playing him, riding through the rough spots. It's the only way a young player is going to learn and develop. You got to leave him out there and have him learn through mistakes and not yank him the moment he makes one. That is not confidence building. That is confidence destruction. Kerr doesn't know how to develop players. It is very obvious that he lacks whatever acumen is needed to develop talent. And so at a bare minimum, he doesn't get who to start on this team. And then when you look at the bench of this team, I still have hope if Buddy Hield, even on a night like this, where, 9 points, okay, give him 6 more minutes. Make it a minimum of 25 minutes with Buddy Hield, because at least he's still spacing the floor out there. His presence alone gives your offense a boost in terms of space, in terms of letting your offensive system actually function. Enough with GP2. Lindy Waters, I don't know what to do with him, man, because some days he plays and you're like, oh, wow, yeah, Lindy, you're doing great. And then there's other games like tonight where he plays 17 minutes, and in those 17 minutes, he's 1 of 6 from the field, including missing easy-ass layups. What the team signed him for, traded for him, was his three-point shooting. He's only 1 of 4 from there, so he's shooting 25% of the night from deep. But Kyle Anderson's got to get a run. Like, Kyle Anderson has to play. I'd rather see Pat Spencer over Brandon Podziemski at this point. Put Podziemski in the G League, trade away GP2, trade GP2 and Kevon Looney, and get a center out there who could actually start. And then that way you bring Trace Jackson Davis off the bench. You limit your bench players to Buddy, to Dennis Schröder, to Trace Jackson Davis, to Moses Moody, who's on this team, and they've missed him tremendously these last 4 or 5 games, and Kyle Anderson. That's still 10 players. You're fine with that. No more GP2. Kevon Looney, I've loved his service and what he's done for this team. He brings more value at this point as an expiring contract. Trade him in GP2. Bring back a center who is competent and good enough to tackle opponents like the Grizzlies, who are huge. Guy Santos is, at this point in time, he's a bench player. Yeah, that's all you're going to get from it. But Lindy Waters should only be playing if someone's hurt, if you need a body. Again, GP2 just should not be playing, period, in the NBA. I mean, he's not even an NBA player anymore. I don't know how you defend the minutes that he's getting, although tonight he only played 4 minutes, 33 seconds. I still think that's 4 minutes and 33 seconds too much. And he actually hit a 3 tonight. Of course, he hits a 3 when it's inconsequential. So that's your 10, okay? I gave you your starting 5. I'll give it to you one more time. Steph, Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond Green, whoever you trade Looney and GP2 for as your center, that's your 5. Trace Jackson Davis comes off the bench. Buddy Hield, Dennis Schröder, Kyle Anderson, Moses Moody. That's 10 dudes right there. A 10-man rotation, by a lot of people's opinions, is still a lot of players. The Warriors are throwing 12 out there. Even now, it made sense at the beginning of the season. It ain't making sense now to throw 12 players out there. There is not enough talent on this team at this point in time, especially with Moody hurt, to see 12 dudes out there. You play those 10 guys, you do what I just said, the Warriors will be fine. But of course they're not going to do that, because they're going to listen to Steve Kerr, Mr. Obtuse. So this is the results we get, man. It sucks, it's unfortunate, and this is reality for you when you have certain gatekeepers with all the power, and they're not letting go of that power. Their boss, for inexplicable reasons, is leaving them in power, and so you get this frustrating mess that we have to see on a regular basis. It is incredibly unfortunate. Carson Dale are asking me to take a breather because the Warriors are not going to trade Kuminga. I agree. It's just like for people to still bring him up. Like, I see people on social media that drive me crazy. Like, we should trade him. For who? Okay, if you're going to suggest trading him, come back at me with actual substantive ideas, right? Like that's pragmatic, that's rooted in reality. Otherwise, again, I read off to you what he does when he actually gets minutes. He's a great player when he gets minutes. When he doesn't get minutes, when you treat him with a herky-jerky style, with a short leash, no one can be developed like that. It's absurd. Alan Day in the chat dropping $1.99. I'm sorry, I think I said this before, saying trade GP2 and Gee for Jonas Valanciunas. And then Carson Taylor dropping another $1.99, saying trade Moody and GP2 and maybe a first-round pick for Zubac or Jakob Poeltl. I don't think Zubac is available from the Clippers. Jakob Poeltl, I wouldn't hate that. I do think there's better options out there, though. I'd rather have Vucevic personally than Jakob Poeltl, just because I trust his outside shooting a lot more. A stretch 5 on this team who can legitimately rebound, a former all-star. That's what you're getting in Nikola Vucevic. I would prefer that, but I wouldn't hate Jakob Poeltl at this point. Das Stream is writing, but Kerr isn't missing all of those shots or allowing all of those uncontested threes. He is picking the players who are doing that, though, right? The combinations of players, the rotations that you put out there are important. So when you have a starting five, for example, that has a backcourt of a 36-year-old Stephen Curry and a 31-year-old Dennis Schröder, and their average height is 6'2", how the hell are they going to defend three-point shots? Especially when you look at the Grizzlies lineup. Like, John Morant is a freakish athlete. You're not blocking his shots. Desmond Bane, who's 6'5"? You're not blocking his shots. Jalen Wells, a rookie who's lighting it up tonight, he's tall. You're not blocking his shots. So you're putting all this impetus on Wiggins, on Looney tonight, on Draymond Green, when they already have their own problems to deal with in terms of the bigs that are out there for opposing teams. So you're sitting here saying it's not Kerr's fault that he's playing little hobbits who have no chance in hell of blocking shots. Wrong. You point the finger at the guy who's making those decisions because it makes no damn sense to have a diminutive hobbit lineup like that. Do I make sense, DawStream? And if that still doesn't make sense, come on the damn show so I can explain it to you a little more clearly. Adrian Gutierrez adding, I'd call Miami and tell them we want Butler on the Warriors ASAP. And this is where things will get a little controversial, because I know this opinion is one that a lot of people don't like, but I'm all in for the Jimmy Butler trade if you're throwing Wiggins in there. And you pretty much are going to have to do that. If you're cool with that, I'm cool with that. Sign me up. I wouldn't mind it. You'd also be ditching you'd be also Billy Beaning Steve Kerr by taking out two players that he loves to play. So sign me up. I'm in. And again, one of the biggest talking points with Andrew Wiggins over the last 2.5 years, even though he's playing lights out this year, he's playing fantastic, I would still take Jimmy Butler over him. And we've been talking endlessly about how his value is nil, how until now it's been impossible to even think about trading Wiggins because no one wants him. He has value again. Trade him while the stock is high, man. Don't wait until something goes wrong there again. Andres Milan saying that Butler can't shoot the three. He can. I know the percentage, the stats will show you that he's average at best. Look, you're getting Jimmy Butler for playoff Jimmy. All right, playoff Jimmy can hit threes. Playoff Jimmy is a monster. I mean, sign me up. Give me playoff Jimmy all day, every day. I would sign up for that absolutely. Because again, what's the alternative? More of this? Yeah, Adrian Gutierrez adding that Jimmy Butler is a Celtic killer. Cuz 1998 saying that Jimmy Butler is always injured. I wouldn't agree. I don't agree with that. He misses a handful of regular season games, but with the exception of one postseason, he's always been there for that. He's always been there when they've mattered. And Byron Knox saying keep Wiggins, trade Kuminga. For who? How many times do I have to say this? If you're going to suggest trading Kuminga, who are you trading him for? You have to trade Wiggins if you're going to get Butler, because Wiggins makes nearly $30 million and you got to match salaries. Kuminga's making $7 million. All right. So again, if you're talking about trading Kuminga, for who? Carson Taylor dropping $4.99. Saying the Warriors just need a Band-Aid at center. Robert Williams III would be much more than a Band-Aid. Nikola Vucevic would be much more than a Band-Aid. And the saddest part, and I say it's sad because you could easily get either of them, easily. But you'd have to get Steve Kerr to buy into it. I mean, how ludicrous is that? That the Warriors have a head coach who is picky and peculiar and obtuse and egotistical and stubborn. And so in order to make any deal that will improve your team, you need him to sign off on it. And he only signs off on just very specific players. I am so thankful at how he treated Jason Tatum in the Olympics this summer, just so everyone else can see what I've been saying for nearly 3 years now. He's a madman when it comes to rotations. And it's just, and the fact that he does it based off his intuition is psychotic. He doesn't use logic and reasoning. It's just like he makes these decisions because he feels they're right. Well, Steve, your feelings have been wrong for nearly 3 years now. Your gut's full of shit. Take it up. Traveling Urquidez saying, I agree that Anthony Davis should be the number one target if he's available. I mean, and again, Mike G bringing up the fact that, if it's true that the Warriors could have gotten Lauri Markkanen for Brandon, and Brandon Podziemski was the one piece holding this up, God damn, did you make a huge mistake. Man, did you blow it big time with that. This Podziemski thing, how much you want to bet that there's like media schlubs out there right now saying, but dude, Brandon Podziemski had a good night tonight. Brandon Podziemski led all scorers on the Golden State Warriors with 21 points. Hey man, he played good. Just to remind you, Brandon Podziemski scored 16 fourth quarter points, a fourth quarter where Memphis gave up playing defense. That dude, color me not impressed, okay? Like, and the worst part about the Podziemski thing is he brings value. Like he could actually be serviceable if you bring him out on the floor as a backup point guard 15 minutes a night. That's a role that he will not screw up. But Steve Kerr thinks it's best to play him as a shooting guard, that he needs to have a secondary point guard alongside him because ball handling is so important. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you know what this team needs? Another ball handler. I don't think they have enough ball handlers. That's why they lost by 51 points tonight, because we need more people who can dribble the ball in a manner that, according to Steve Kerr's gut, is passable, is acceptable. It is, dude, this is just wild. This is outrageous. We're watching incompetency blatantly right in front of us and just have to stomach it. Because that's the power we have, and Joe Lacob has all the power, and Steve Kerr has all the power, and we just have to watch it. God damn, it's frustrating. Ranger 49 saying, Steve Kerr's spider tingle. You're absolutely right. Real fast, Dennis Schröder, his first game as a member of the Golden State Warriors tonight. And again, he got a long run in the first quarter. That's the first and foremost, above everything else. That really stuck out to me. And I don't know if that was Kerr kind of like playing off what his role was with Brooklyn, because he averaged 36 minutes a night playing for the Brooklyn Nets. That's a run, right? You're gonna get stats doing that. That was always one of my that was always like a point of skepticism for me with the Dennis Schröder trade was, yeah, he's averaging a career high 18 points per game, the assists and all that, but he's also playing 36 minutes. He's not going to get that here with the Warriors. And so much of those numbers are against Eastern Conference opposition, which is such a joke. So Dennis Schröder tonight, again, the first quarter, which really stuck out to me because of how long he was out there, he played longer than anybody to start the game. He played 8 minutes, 46 seconds in that first quarter. Unfortunately, wasn't doing much. He was 1 of 5 from the field. He misses 2 3-point attempts. And then for the game, his box score, he played 21 minutes, 56 seconds, 2 of 12 from the field, missed all 4 of his 3-point attempts, had 1 trip to the free throw line, and just like everyone else on the Warriors, missed free throws. Even Dennis Schröder couldn't hit him. He was 1 of 2 tonight, so 50% free throw shooting for him. Did have 5 assists, did have 4 turnovers, and again, he was averaging nearly 3 turnovers a game playing for Brooklyn. And I thought that was a huge issue for this Warriors team, was how many turnovers they're giving up. So he had 4 of them tonight. And he finished the game where Stephen Curry was a minus 41, Draymond Green a minus 42 in net rating, Dennis Schröder a minus 34. Oof. So not a good start. But again, the Memphis Grizzlies, not the best opponent to showcase your new acquisition, because height matters in basketball. Started to sound like a broken record, but I have to keep repeating it because apparently the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, a man who makes, $16 million a year. Can I have just 1/16 of that, please, to provide better suggestions and decisions, please? Please? Because of Steve Kerr, Dennis Schröder started against a much bigger Memphis Grizzlies team, and that's the result that you get. When Dennis Schröder played on the Brooklyn Nets, there were nights where he had a 6'10" point guard in Ben Simmons. And now he's on a team where he's average height, which is sad. Sharice Washington with dipping into the conspiracy tank, and I love it. I don't know if it's true, but I like it. She writes, "I'm about to think the players are throwing games so Steve Kerr can be fired." All right, let's wrap this show up with a scoreboard watch. Unless there's any other players that should be highlighted tonight. But I think we've kind of dipped into that well enough on a night where the Warriors lose 144-93. There just is not much to talk about in terms of player performances and stats. I do want to real fast one more time give some love to Kyle Anderson, who played against his former team tonight. And in 19 minutes 40 seconds was 4 of 8 from the field, was 3 of 4 from deep, had 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists in this game. I really wish he would play more. Kyle Anderson was arguably the best free agent acquisition the Warriors made this offseason. And I know he technically was acquired via sign and trade, but he was probably the best player you got. Of the 3 big signings, him, Buddy Hield, DeAnthony Melton. Melton's out for the year with injury. He gets traded. Buddy Hield starts off hot. Now everyone else, fandoms of the Kings, fandoms of the Sixers, of the Pacers, they're now laughing at Dub Nation because we're seeing the version of Buddy Hield that they had fun with for all those years. He's inconsistent. Kyle Anderson was, from at least my observation skills, the best of those 3 options, and he's also Kerr's least favorite because he gets the least minutes. And it's a shame. It's a shame. I personally think he's serviceable, and it's sad that he doesn't play. So I want to give him some love because I do wish he would play some more. All right, let's go through the NBA and call it a night. Saturday night, by the way, will be another post-game show. The Warriors are traveling to Minnesota to take on the T-Wolves. Larry Krueger, who's gloating right now with his 38-win prediction for this Warriors team, because it's looking more and more like that might be true, as depressing as that sounds. He's going to join me anyways on Saturday night, where the Warriors look to stop this insane slide. They've now lost 9 of 11. Everything, all the goodwill, all the positive energy that was accrued at the start of the season with that 12-3 start, gone. It's virtually gone. The Warriors are now just 2 games above 500. When you look at the standings for the Golden State Warriors, they are now 10th in the Western Conference. They are tied with the LA Lakers at 14-12. The OKC Thunder are atop the West at 21-5. The Memphis Grizzlies, who took easy care of the Warriors tonight, are second in the West at 19-9. The Houston Rockets third at 18-9. The Dallas Mavericks fourth at 17-10. The Denver Nuggets are fifth in the West at 14-10. The LA Clippers are fifth at 16-12. The Minnesota Timberwolves, again, who the Warriors face next Saturday night. And we'll have, hopefully, a show that marks the end of this brutal stretch. Let's hope. I don't want to have a show where I'm telling you the Warriors have now lost 10 of 12. And so the Minnesota Timberwolves are now 14-11. They're 7th. The Phoenix Suns are 8th in the standings, also at 14-11. And then the Lakers are 9th at 14-12. And the Warriors round out your top 10 at 14-12. They would be a play-in team if the season ended today. And the San Antonio Spurs, just a half game behind the Warriors in the standings at 14-13. And little brother, they're out there. They're hot on the heels of the Warriors. The Sacramento Kings are 13-14 currently, a game and a half behind the Warriors for that 10th spot. Again, this is bad. This is bad. The metaphorical panic button that I haven't been looking at, even with all these losses. Yeah, I'm glancing at it, and I'm considering putting some pressure on it because 9 of 11, that's bad. That's not good. It's just not good. There's no way to spin that. And looking around the scoreboard tonight, it was weird that there was no basketball yesterday in the NBA. There was plenty of action today. Let me see the chat real fast one more time if there's anything else that should be addressed. Byron Knox, and this is the one that breaks my heart the most, Byron. I mean, this one just touches the cuckles. It hurts. Byron writing, Stephen Curry won't get a 5th ring with the Warriors. I mean, the way this is going, God damn, you're right. But I still have hope. Adrian Gutierrez saying the Warriors are falling fast. What happened? Steve Kerr happened. Plain and simple. There's that one dude on Twitter. I forgot his name. He's like 70 years old, and he calls himself a coach. And he's got a following. He tweeted at me. He's like, "Bring me on your show," because he's a Steve Kerr just fanatic. Like, the guy refuses to ever blame Steve Kerr for anything. And I'm blanking on his name. But anyways, he wanted to come on the show. And I was like, great, let's do it. Just email me. I still haven't heard from him. It's like, I would love for any one of these Steve Kerr fans, these apologists, to come on this program and defend him. They're too afraid, man, because you can't. I don't know how you can defend him just on credible evidence. It's damn near impossible. Oh, anyways. And AB is saying that Kuminga's worse than Podziemski. What do you base that on, AB? Because statistically, that's not true. At least Kuminga gives you size out there. Do I need to tell you again what his numbers are in 30 minutes when he plays 30 minutes or more a game? Let's do it, just because apparently it's been lost on you, AB, so let's go to that again. So Jonathan Kuminga. And again, these stats don't represent this season where Kuminga's played, I think, 2 games of 30 minutes or more in a night. Here, let me double check real fast on Kuminga's game log, because now I am curious myself to see just how many 30-plus minute games Jonathan Kuminga has had this season. All right, let me take a look at his game log real fast. Okay, so he did not play 30 against Dallas. So he did play 36 against the Houston Rockets. He scored 20 points in that game, had 7 rebounds, was 2 of 6 shooting from deep, 33%. That's passable. You live with that. And then the other game this season where he played over 30 minutes. Oh, he's had 3 games this season where he has hit the 30-plus mark. They all happened fairly recently. He played 36 minutes against the Minnesota Timberwolves in a win. He scored 20 points, had 7 rebounds in that one as well, was 1 of 4 shooting from deep, 7 of 16 from the field. And then on December 5th against the Houston Rockets, he played 33 minutes in that game, had 33 points, a career high, was 3 of 6 shooting from deep. So take those 3 games into account in terms of his overall stats in his career, where when Kuminga plays 30 minutes or more, he's now done that 38 times in his career, because these stats don't reflect this season. So not including those 3 games that I just told you, when Kuminga actually gets 30 minutes or more, he averages over 20 points a game, 20.2 more specifically, and that number is probably a little bit higher because of the 33-point outing. 55.1% shooting from the field. That's fantastic. 43.0, and I think that number's gone down to 41 point something. I saw that somewhere the other day. Shooting from deep, over 40% shooting from 3 when he plays 30 or more minutes. 5.5 rebounds per game, and that number is now closer to 6. And a plus 24 net rating, and that number has gone up. So tell me again why Podziemski is better than him. Explain that. And again, AB in the chat saying that Podziemski is better for net rating. Not this year. Not this year. I don't have those stats in front of me, but I will guarantee you that Jonathan Kuminga, and I'm going to try to find that right now, that Jonathan Kuminga, his net rating is higher than Brandon Podziemski's this year. Jonathan Kuminga last year was 4th on the team in net rating. I know Podziemski was 1st, but it was Podziemski, Steph, Dre, Kuminga last year. And even after last year, when Kuminga was arguably the 2nd best player in the Warriors on a 46-win team that, all of Kerr's apologists love to bring up, but they don't love to bring up the fact that Kuminga was arguably, again, the 2nd best player on that team. And what's his reward for that? You don't start this year. It's a joke. I'll try to find Kuminga's net rating for this season if I can while I'm hosting a live show. But yeah, come on, man, that's an outrageous take. Don't to just say that Podziemski's better. That's ridiculous. Dino Manrique is spamming the chat. I'm going to highlight this just so you stop. I don't want to block you for spamming, but please don't spam the chat. Dino Manrique writing that the Warriors should get Kai Soto. We need height for offense and defense. He's getting better. Look, I'm not going to throw your comment away, but I will say this. I've actually talked to folks who follow his game now, because there have been quite a few people who bring his name up. Kai Soto has fans, and every one of them I've talked to said he is not there yet. That he might be, but he's just not there at this point in time. But I don't think it's an awful suggestion. The Warriors do need height. And again, because 1998 saying Kuminga's too inconsistent, not when he gets 30 minutes. Any player treated the way he's been treated, a lottery pick, high lottery pick, to get the minutes he gets, I will come back and say it's absurd for you to accuse him of being inconsistent when his minutes are inconsistent, and he's not inconsistent when he gets minutes. All right. I don't see if there's anything else. Byron Knox adding, should the Warriors tank? I'm not there yet. If it's like this in February, hell yeah. I mean, it's time to move on and jump in that capture the flag sweepstakes. Not yet though. That would be such a disservice to Steph and Dre. And again, I know a lot of people out there are talking about Steph and how he's fading, he's regressing, and my response to that is, I see it a little bit, but I also don't know any player out there who would thrive in his position, given he is double teamed literally every possession. Every single possession, if you actually focus your attention on the opposition's defense and look at their schematics, they have one guy shadowing Steph as the man defender, and they always have a secondary defender lurking nearby, and they play a zone there so that they make sure there's always one dude nearby. And the Warriors are not doing anything to counter that. And I don't know if you can, in all honesty, unless you get the personnel, but I really don't think it's fair to point a finger at Steph like that, just because I don't know who would thrive like that. I don't. It's just, I don't know. All I'm saying is he's literally getting double teamed every possession. So, I just don't know how the hell he can do anything in that regard, I'm still trying to find real fast here the net rating here, I think I got it. In terms of who is kicking ass individually with net rating, again, it's a very subjective stat when it comes to individuals, unless you take into account like a full season's body of work, then maybe that'll factor in. Shoot, no, I don't. I'll do it on the next show. I just lost it. Never mind. But my point is, look, just again, Podziemski's not a better player than Kuminga. Come on. Kev F bringing up the All-Star game, saying Stephen Curry needs an All-Star sidekick. Is Steph even making the All-Star game? I know they're going to most likely make it happen because the All-Star game is in San Francisco, but I don't know if that's a lock, and it does concern me a little bit. I want to read off Stephen Curry's stats on the season really fast, just to let folks know how he's doing exactly, because the numbers are not bad. Stephen Curry on the season, really quickly here. Let me just look up his numbers, and I'm so sorry. I thought I had the net rating in front of me, and then it turns out I didn't. All right, so Stephen Curry on the year. And again, keep in mind, forget the age part of it. Keep in mind that he has virtually no help around him, except for Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins is playing fantastic basketball this year. Comeback story, and then some. Most improved player, yeah, I'd say nominate him. He's in the running. Stephen Curry this season, he's averaging 30.9 minutes per game. Remember when the Warriors were winning games and that number was below 30? And then Kerr happened. He's shooting 45.2% from the field. For a point guard, that's great. He's shooting 42.1% from deep. That is fantastic. All right. Again, anything over 40% shooting from three is mind-blowing. It's like you're savoring that, you're relishing it, you're boasting about it. It's a good number. He's shooting 92.3% from the free throw line. He's averaging 5.2 rebounds per game. He's averaging 6.7 assists per game. He's averaging 3.2 turnovers per game, and there was at least one out there tonight. He tried to do another fancy pass that unfortunately was turned over. But that 3.2 turnovers per game he's averaging this year, it's 0.1 higher than his career average of 3.1 turnovers per game. That's always been a part of his game, and he's averaging 23 points per game. All right, those aren't bad numbers. Quite the opposite. Stephen Curry is fine. He needs help out there, big time. He's all alone. He's all alone, and unfortunately for him, because of that, you're going to get nights like this where he has his worst single individual game of his career, 2 whopping points, 0 field goals. The first time he's ever done that in a game where he's played 10 plus minutes. It sucks. It sucks. There's no way to spin that. Gamer F2P asking, what were the lineups those first games? Let's save that for another show because that's something I feel like should be its own episode, talking about what has gone wrong. And on that note as well, Steve Kerr's gut, that's happening. That's I know I keep saying dates and then I keep pushing it back, and I apologize for that, but it's coming. The time is now for Steve Kerr's gut to be exposed over the last 10 years and all the decisions that he made that were flat out wrong. There are a lot of them. And that episode is officially here. Red Black. And again, I just said this, Red Black. I did say that Wiggins is also kicking some ass out there. Okay, fine. Stephen Curry has one dude on the team helping him out. It's not enough. And Wiggins, again, 18 points a game. That's all right. It's not a lot of points. But I know he's doing a lot out there, and I know he's shooting above 43% from three. Wiggins is having a fantastic season. I'm not doubting that, Red Black, at all. You are correct. All right, let's go to the scoreboard and then call it a night. Move across the NBA. The LA Clippers, we mentioned them a moment ago in the standings. They won tonight 118-95. Luka Doncic, following that incredible night against the Warriors, he's been out. That game took a lot out of him. And again, it goes back to my critique of this game. Why was Wiggins pulled? Wiggins is the only guy doing anything for this team. His minute total tonight, 20 minutes and 35 seconds. I mean, I know the Warriors threw in the towel early, and so that which has affected his minutes total. But like, why was he pulled at the 8-minute mark of the first quarter? Like, why are you taking out your best player or one of them? Tonight, he was their best player. Why take him out so early? What is the point of that? Like, there is no good reason for this, like, structured, scripted, like pre-game rotation plan. Why don't you use your gut during the game? Or does your gut have to contemplate and reminisce for 24 hours? And it's just, Kerr's got to go, man. I think that's just the bottom line. He's just got to go. I don't know how this is gonna turn around. Unless you just literally Billy Bean the ever-living shit out of him and just take away any options that he could go to that hurts his team. That's the only way it would work. And right now you still have Pajemski. Right now you still have GP2. Right now you still have Pods, GP2. I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Oh, well. Yeah, you got to Billy Bean him. You got to beat him. I will say this, LT, just to push back a little bit on Dennis Schröder, because it was not a good opening night. I'm going to wait a little bit before, giving some judgment on whether or not he's going to be a good fit. Tonight did not work, but it was also his first game on the team, having just been traded here, and I can't imagine that's easy for anyone. Anyways, and Kenneth 29 saying this team does not have that second star to help Steph, and Kuminga is not that guy. Currently, you're right. I've never said he is, but he could be very soon. Again, every time he plays 30-plus minutes, he does turn into that guy. I guess like what I'd really like to see is just try playing Kuminga extensively. What's the worst that could happen? You lose by 51 points? Oh, wait, that just happened. Just give the guy minutes. Stop the herky-jerky, like, we're going to script this, and if he's playing well, we'll give him more, and if he's not playing well, just enough. Just put him out there and play him. Yes, Gamer F2P, Kerr is the problem. Absolutely. All right, so going back to the scoreboard. Oh, the chat's awesome. I'm reading everything coming in. So again, the Clippers defeated the Mavericks 118-95 tonight. Zubac, someone mentioned earlier in the show, bringing his name up as a prospective trade partner. 21 points, 15 rebounds in the win for the Clippers. Dinwiddie for the Mavericks, 19 points, 7 assists, 3 steals. The top performer for the Mavericks in the loss. The Indiana Pacers defeated the Phoenix Suns 120-111. And again, folks, don't forget, as bad as things are going for the Warriors right now, it is weird that they're tied with the Phoenix Suns in terms of record, right? Is that correct? My scoreboard is saying that they are 14-12, but when I looked at the standings, it says 14-11. That's ESPN for you. Well, either they're 14-11 or 14-12. I don't know. But the Phoenix Suns lost tonight to the Indiana Pacers. Again, 120-111. Pascal Siakam, 25 points, 18 rebounds in the win. Kevin Durant, 37 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists in the loss for the Phoenix Suns. Is there any sound that's come down? I haven't played any sound. Let's see if there's any sound from the genius, Steve Kerr, saying that sarcastically, so we can actually hear some of those brilliant insights from him in terms of why the Warriors lost tonight. And there is nothing. And the reason why there's nothing is because the Warriors are on the road. And when they're on the road, the media industry, for the most part, is dead. No one has the money to send reporters to travel with the team. And so you most likely have maybe like 2 media people on the road with the Warriors. No sound at the moment. The Warriors publish some stuff that I usually use the next day, but they don't publish it right after the game. So no sound. Let me see if Anthony Slater drops something real fast. Sometimes he'll publish stuff on his Twitter account. In terms of sound, no sound from anybody. That is brutal. Okay, so I did see a tweet from Sam Gordon that highlighted one Steve Kerr comment that he made after the game. Let me see if I can find that real fast. So Sam Gordon says, quote, from Stephen Curry, "The vibes are good." A Stephen Curry comment regarding the addition of Dennis Schröder, quote, "You don't want the results of tonight to kind of paint the picture of what Dennis Schröder can do for our team. I'm excited about implementing him into our locker room and adjusting to what he does best." Sam Gordon also quoting Stephen Curry, saying that the Warriors are not panicking. Quote, "Accept where you're at and buck up and try to figure out how to change the momentum of the season. Panic kinds of means you don't have an answer. I think we do have answers. There's obviously a sense of urgency for sure." Unquote. Also from Sam Gordon, who mad props in terms of his coverage. And as I'm going through this Twitter feed, I'm realizing myself that lately I've been paying too much attention to social media because sometimes like you read what's on there and it kind of in your mind makes you think that this is the narrative of what reality is, when no, that's not true at all. Social media oftentimes does not reflect what the majority of people are actually talking about. Some hatred on Draymond Green though on the social media chatter about Draymond Green having a Tony Snell type game tonight with a bunch of zeros. He did have 1 steal. Draymond Green tonight, he was 0-4 from the field, including 1 missed 3-point shot in 19 minutes, 4 seconds of play, committed 4 personal fouls, committed 4 turnovers, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, a -42 in net rating, but he did have 1 steal. Draymond, oof, that was close. Dre almost had the Tony Snell game. Oh my God. Oh my God. And I do, look, I respect Cuz 1998 because you're right that the Warriors are going through a very difficult part of their schedule. But they should be playing better than this, and they should be winning at least some of these games. The Warriors also had a tough stretch early on. And that 12-3 stretch, they were winning the tough games, and they were putting up a damn good fight even when they lose. There was no fight in this game tonight, like none. This was over from literally the opening tip when Kevon Looney was called for a foul, something I've never seen in my life until tonight, ever. Carson, what did I miss in the super chat? I read everything. Oh, did I miss this? I apologize. Carson Taylor dropping $4.99, suggesting. And Carson, you're welcome to come on the show anytime too, brother. Play the invite's open. I hope I meet you sometime, at least virtually. But Carson writing that the Warriors need a Band-Aid at center. If LeBron James retires, we should be the first team in line for Anthony Davis while we have the assets. I wholeheartedly agree. That would be an incredible acquisition for the Warriors. I don't know if Anthony Davis would become available, but I don't hate your idea. And regardless, though, that would be for next season. But yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. You're right. Anonymous saying that Steve Kerr is the reason I no longer believe in Santa. Look at the way I look right now. All right, this is partly by design. I look the way the Warriors are playing. I know I look like a hobo. I know it. It's by design, folks. My looks reflect the Warriors' play. When the Warriors are playing good, I'll clean this ass up. You know I will. No, Sharice Washington started the show talking about Stephen Curry. But we've covered this ad nauseum. If you missed the beginning, that's why then. You're thinking that all we're doing is talking about Kuminga and other players. Oh, no, the Curry got a lot of attention to start this show. Trust me on that. It hasn't been lost on me at all. Yeah, the haircut, everything's coming. You're right. I look like a totally dirty hippie. I get it. I get it, man. It's just this is what Warriors losses do to me. It just turns me into someone that goes, you know what? I don't care. This is how I feel. It's how the Warriors play. Going back to the scoreboard. The San Antonio Spurs defeated the Atlanta Hawks tonight, 133-126. Victor Wembanyama, 42 points, 6 rebounds, 4 blocks in the win. Trae Young, 23 points, 16 assists, and 3 steals in the loss. I do think the Atlanta Hawks are a perfect case study for how to craft a team around a point guard like Stephen Curry. A lot of long players, a lot of defensive-minded players. Yeah, the Hawks are definitely playing better than I expected this year, even though they lost that game tonight. The Houston Rockets improved to 18-9. They defeated the New Orleans Pelicans 133-113. Jalen Green, 34 points, 6 rebounds in the win. Trey Murphy, the third, 28 points in the loss. The Pelicans dropped to 5-23. Oof-ta. San Antonio Spurs, I don't know if I mentioned this, they improved to 14-13 with their win. The Hawks dropped to 14-14 with the loss. The Brooklyn Nets, Dennis Schroeder's former team, 101-94 winners tonight over the Toronto Raptors, a team that's been linked to the Warriors a lot in terms of trade chatter. Cam Johnson, 33 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists in the win. Yeah, good job going for Dennis Schroeder and not Cam Johnson. Yay, smart job there. Abjayi had 20 points in the loss for the Raptors. The Brooklyn Nets improved to 11-16. The Raptors dropped to 7-21. The Chicago Bulls, 117-108 winners over the Boston Celtics in Boston. And yes, I did catch Bob Fitzgerald bringing this one up. He was working overtime tonight trying to make this not as bad as it was. That was a masterclass between him and Glenn Azubuike in the broadcast tonight. And he brought up that Bulls win, saying, look, everybody loses. You can't win every game. Oh, you heard it all from Fitz tonight. I loved it. The Bulls improved to 13-15. The Celtics dropped to 21-6. Zach LaVine, who lately in the trade chatter, I'm saying is linked to the Denver Nuggets. That would be interesting. He had 36 points, 6 rebounds in the win. Jason Tatum, 31 points, 10 rebounds in the loss for the Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum, by the way, an MVP candidate. But he should not have played in the Olympics, per Steve Kerr. Washington Wizards, 123-114 winners over the Charlotte Hornets. The Wizards improved to 4-21. The Hornets dropped to 7-20. Jordan Poole, 27 points. In the win, LaMelo Ball actually played. When he plays, he puts up huge numbers. But that dude is borderline Mr. Glass. Anyways, he puts up 34 points, 13 assists, 4 steals in the loss. The Orlando Magic lost at home tonight to the OKC Thunder 105-99. OKC improves to 21-5. The Orlando Magic dropped to 17-12. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the win, 35 points, 6 assists, 4 steals. Black, 23 points in the loss for the Orlando Magic. The Utah Jazz winners tonight, 126-119 over the Detroit Pistons. The Jazz improved to 6-20. Detroit drops to 11-17. Lauri Markkanen, could you believe that? Brandon Pajemski. Another side note. Do you folks remember how much I was clamoring for Cam Whitmore? I just want to remind you folks that. Anyways. Cam Whitmore's not playing much either, by the way. He's out there. He's available. If you decide to full-on rebuild, you can still get him. The Jazz improved to 6-20. The Pistons dropped to 11-17. Again, Lauri Markkanen, a player that the Warriors could have potentially gotten if not for their love affair with Brandon Pajemski. 27 points, 14 rebounds in the win. And I'm being slightly facetious saying that because I know there was no conclusive report saying that was true. But if it was true, oy vey. Cade Cunningham, 33 points, 7 assists, 4 blocks in the loss for Detroit. And 2 games going on right now as we finish up the show. Another team that's reeling, the LA Lakers. They're tied with Sacramento right now. They're at Golden One Center in the state's capital, 68-68. The game is tied with about 6 minutes to play in the third quarter. Anthony Davis, 11 points, 12 rebounds, 6 blocks for the LA Lakers. Domantas Sabonis currently has 12 points, 9 rebounds in that one. The Denver Nuggets right now are in Portland taking on the Trailblazers and losing. But there's still time left in that game. It's 90-77 right now. Portland is 8-18 on the year. Denver 14-10. But again, the Blazers leading by 13 right now. And a huge reason for that is DeAndre Ayton, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks for Portland. Nikola Jokic has 19.7 assists. For most of you watching or listening to this, those will all change by the time you are catching the program. And last but not least, and this one's in the fourth quarter, and this one is likely over. The New York Knicks leading the Minnesota Timberwolves in Karl Anthony Towns' first game back. And boy, is he delivering. Again, the Knicks lead this one 114-79. They're currently 16-10, so they will likely improve to 17-10. The Timberwolves currently 14-11. They'll likely drop to 14-12. Karl Anthony Towns right now has 32 points, 20 rebounds, and 6 assists. Anthony Edwards right now has 17 points, 7 assists, 3 steals. For Minnesota. But again, that one is likely over. So there's your scoreboard. We went through the standings. Julio Ferreira, I apologize, with appropriate spam, hashtag Steve Kerr sucks. And that's where we'll finish up the show. You're absolutely right. He does. Ranger 49 calling Pajemski a little shaggy. I still prefer Sideshow Bob, the infamous clown assistant on The Simpsons. The Sideshow Bob haircut. I agree with you. It's not a good look. But who am I to talk, right? I mean, look at this thing. Shane West saying that if Kerr stays beyond this year, Jonathan Kuminga is gone, which brings up which would bring up a very interesting scenario because Jonathan Kuminga is going to be a restricted free agent this offseason. And for all the folks out there who claim, oh, he's never going to get a deal, you're going to see people offering a max. You will. And then the Warriors will be put in a very tough position because you don't want to lose Kuminga for nothing. So you're going to have to match that deal, and then you're paying him what he wants. And then we'll see what happens. But Shane West, you're probably right. And it's all the more reason why you move on from Steve Kerr now. Mitchell and Ness writing, wasting assets. Love your profile picture, by the way. Jerry Rice, I believe, was that the TD that broke the record for Steve Young and Rice being the number one combo, or was that Jerry Rice's all-time TD celebration? Whatever that is, I love the picture. Mitchell and Ness writing that wasting assets for Stephen Curry to win another championship is a pipe dream. We're done. It's over. I'm not there yet. And a huge reason why is because of the NBA landscape. There is no team out there that makes it impossible for the Warriors to win a championship. None. Like, I get that some people look at the Cavaliers and they're impressed and intimidated. They don't scare me. Even, and I know the Warriors lost to them, but They don't scare me. The Warriors already proved they could beat Boston. The Warriors already proved they could beat OKC. They haven't proved they could beat Denver yet, and that's where you got to get some size. The Lakers game on Christmas, I'm still intrigued, and we will have a show that day. I'm doing all the family stuff on Christmas Eve, so we could have a live show that day right after the game. I'm not there yet. I'm not. I do still think there's hope, but that hope is fading. Maximus Maximo saying Draymond Green is aging fast. It wasn't a good look for him tonight. He got into a scuffle with Zach Edey in the rematch following the last game where Draymond got scrutinized because he like closed his arm and on Edey's ankle, and I thought the whole thing was blown way out of proportion. Draymond Green will get that attention because of his antics over his career. He had an awful game tonight, though, and again, he got pulled out of the game in the second quarter. I'm a little surprised he didn't get kicked out of this game, in all honesty. But it wasn't a good look tonight. Peep this, saying Trace Jackson Davis could put up those kinds of numbers. I don't know who you're referring to, but I follow. I can imagine what you're inferring. If the coach wasn't pure shit, you're absolutely right. Red Black. I'll say this before and I'll say it again. I am always sober for these shows, if for no other reason, because I don't want to disrespect any of you. I cannot give an A game, an A performance if I'm stoned. So I refrain. But believe me, the moment I hit the end button on my screen, I'm gonna light one up. You better believe that. B Slots, I like it. Saying hit the thumbs up button if you think the Warriors are playing like trash. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yeah, and Red Black, I agree. This was an awful game, and that's how we end the show. The Steve Kerr's Gut episode is coming soon. Unfortunately, not tomorrow. I've just got stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not available. But that will come soon. But for sure, Saturday night, Warriors T-Wolves. I think that'll be a much better game to assess Dennis Schröder's role with this team. Would not be surprised if we saw yet another starting lineup, just because apparently Steve Kerr still needs to experiment, which is just madness. But yeah, Paul James in the chat writing that Dre and Steph are still good players. Let me read you Stephen Curry's numbers one more time, just to remind folks. Okay, Stephen Curry has won 2 MVP awards. The first MVP, he averaged, in terms of scoring, what he's averaging now, 23 points a game. He's having a good year, statistically speaking. It's just, again, for the 10th time, when you double him every possession, it's not going to look pretty out there. And that's what's happening. He has no help except for Andrew Wiggins, but it's not enough, clearly. And maybe those two should be playing together out there at all times. So Steph has some goddamn help. But yeah, when Stephen Curry won the MVP award in 2014-15, he played 2 more minutes per game. He averaged 32.7 minutes per game in 14-15. This year he's averaging 30.9. And that season, the Warriors' first championship season, he still averaged 23.8 points per game. This year, he's averaging an even 23. That season, he shot 44.3% from deep. This year, he's at 42.1, which is still damn good. It's an improvement on last season when he shot 40.8, and that was damn good. When the Warriors won the title in 2022, he shot 38% on the season. So he's playing good. He's playing efficient. Nothing out of the norm. It's just he's double teamed every possession because other teams know all you have to do is shut him down and you win. It's not complicated. So it's going to be mentality. You joined the show late, but asking why wasn't Kuminga starting? Yeah, I'm asking the same thing. And I'm with you. I don't understand it either. Mentality that when Kuminga plays, great things happen. So why isn't he playing all the time? I mean, it's not complicated. Now, the answer to that is because Steve Kerr is Steve Kerr. He listens to his gut. He makes decisions based on intuition. He'll never tell the media what his thinking is. He's very creative and smart enough to provide answers that are non-specific, yet placate. I'm sorry, the reporter. I just wish I had some sound to play on the show tonight. Nothing tonight. We'll have that soon. Oh no, we got one thing. We got one thing here, and this came from I believe this sound. Who does this sound come from? Is this from this is from Youngsmith, who for some reason has taken over the reporting duties with ESPN. I don't know where Kendra Andrews went. Maybe someone in the chat knows. I mean, who really cares ultimately? But anyways, we got a soundbite, and this comes from ESPN reporter again, Youngsmith, a Bay Area native, who for some reason again has taken over the duties of covering the Warriors for ESPN for Kendra Andrews, unless ESPN is paying two people to do that job. Anyways, let's hear from Stephen Curry after this game. We've got some sound. I love it. So before we go, let's hear from Steph following just a horrific game where the team lost by 51 points. Here is Stephen Curry. Apologies if the sound is not great. Here we go.
I think somebody said we've got blown out, something like this, like once a year. And we've responded. We've bounced back before.
You've actually had two 50-point losses in the calendar year because there was that one at Boston.
Yeah, that was a rough one too.
How would you?
I like the vibes better right now.
That was my question.
Yeah.
How would you compare the vibes now to then? This team's ability to bounce back to that one.
We're gonna keep saying it because I genuinely believe it. Like we're better than what we've been playing. We're better than what we showed tonight. The vibes are way better. So it's nice to say it, but you gotta do something about it. And I feel like we can. So we'll just wait and see.
Still, no, don't panic.
Say what?
It's still don't panic, right? I think you had said that earlier in this slump.
I don't like the panic word. I like accept where you're at and buck up and try to figure out how to change the momentum of the season. So panic kind of means you don't have an answer. I think we do have answers. It's just there's obviously a sense of urgency for sure.
Great. All right, so there we go. That was Stephen Curry letting us know that the panic button has not been hit. And I agree. I do think the talent is there. I don't know if the coaching is there. I really don't. And if you feel like I do, which is that this team desperately needs a change at that spot, I'm with you. It's up to Joe Lacob. Anyways, thank you again, everyone. We'll be back at this soon. Vitamin Energy. Use the promo code Golden Days. GOLDENDAZE, and you get 20% off. An energy shot that's good for you. I'm only bringing on sponsors that I can endorse with conviction, with honesty, where I can be authentic about it. It's some damn good stuff. And again, my sister, my mom, I put them to the test because again, they're health nuts. They will not put things in their body that is not good for you. And they both endorsed it. And I was like, all right, then we're in. Let's do it. So 20% off your order if you do that. Otherwise, again, thank you to everyone. Back at this at the absolute latest Saturday night. Warriors, T-Wolves. Larry Krueger will join me. Until then, hang in there. Try to find something that makes you happy because the Golden State Warriors currently are not hit. And I feel your pain if this is making you just a bitter, angry person. I get you. I feel you. This sucks. We'll be back at this soon, everyone. Thank you as always. Truly from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.